Tonight's top EU stories from the unit website include: the European Union narrowly avoids debt default. Serbian Prime Minister: we will be next to join the European Union. Europeans divided over austerity and want alternatives. The European Union's opposition to GMO crops has nothing to do with safety. Plus, the EU to contribute €47 million for forest protection in Honduras. I'm Rick Timmis, and this is the Unit Nightly News. First, from our homepage. The European Parliament agreed on Tuesday, October the 22nd, an emergency payment of €2.7 billion for the 2013 budget. The European Union could thus escape a shutdown, as noted by Philippe Ricard, a journalist at the European Office of the World. The payment of this amount by the states was the only way to avoid a termination payment from mid-November, said the Budget Commissioner Jans Lewandowski. The plenary vote is scheduled for Thursday. This money will help to meet some of the reimbursement requests submitted by the states in October, but it will not be enough to pay for all. Choices will have to be made, and settlement of certain invoices submitted in 2013 will be delayed, he said. So there you have it, folks. They got the member states to cough up another $2.7 billion. It isn't enough to cover everything, means the Commission will be back begging before the member states. Well, let's face it, it won't be begging, it will be demanding. And with the European Stability Mechanism as the ace card in the Commission's pocket, you, me and Mrs. Entwistle at number 73 are all going to be paying up. As the European Union continues its expansion into Eastern Europe and the Balkans, Serbia's Prime Minister says he is certain his country will be the bloc's next member. Ivica Dačić told CNN, "We would like Serbia to become a member of the European Union as quickly as possible." Serbia is aiming to become the third country from former Yugoslavia to join Europe's political and economic union, following in the footsteps of Slovenia and neighbour Croatia, who joined earlier this year. But Dačić believes Serbia does not have a lot of time to wait, as its economy has suffered great consequences following the breakup of the former Yugoslavia in the 1990s. The rate of unemployment is the biggest problem, Dačić said, referring to Serbia's 25% unemployment rate, which sits below only Spain and Greece in the EU. Well, let's get them on board right away. It sounds like their economy is in just the sort of shape the kleptocrats are looking for. As the European Commission is about to present proposals to strengthen the social dimension of the Economic and Monetary Union, a new poll shows that up to 60% of Europeans believe there are better ways of solving the economic crisis than austerity. The results of the survey released by Gallup this morning confirms that public opinion rejects that idea. Well, we've come up with a forward-thinking economic strategy of our own here at the unit that we feel would be an excellent strategy to deploy at the EU. It involves 10,000 litres of tar and 3,000 kilos of feathers. Two years ago, a woman in a classroom with me muttered, "Isn't that a good thing?" about the ban on the cultivation and importation of most genetically modified organisms in the European Union. It protects EU citizens' rights. Nope, the ban on GMOs merely allows the EU to act as an autonomous region through its politics of food security. The EU set up the Common Agricultural Policy in part for food security, and the ban on GMOs is but an excuse to ban foreign imports and prevent dependency on foreign seed manufacturers in order to maintain the EU's agricultural self-sufficiency. My professor for my course on the development and politics of the EU responded. Well, in spite of my friend's interjections that the restriction of GMOs imports and cultivation were meant as a form of consumer protection, this professor demonstrated examples to the contrary, highlighting how the ban reflects economic protectionism rather than safety considerations, and how the EU's economic protectionism ensures food security and therefore self-autonomy. Like the misconceptions of my friend on the EU's policy towards GMOs, anti-GMO advocates and the larger public frequently cite the EU's policies towards GM crops as evidence, contradicting the conclusion of major scientific, health and food safety organisations from over 600 studies showing the general safety of GM crops. In reality, social and political factors, not scientific concerns, form the basis of the EU's opposition to cultivating GM crops. The European Union has signed a €47 million agreement with Honduras in order to help protect forests in the country. The project, known as Euro 4, will cost €49.1 million in total and will help local forest communities, together with civil society groups, to improve forest management. The project foresees improving research on forestry and agroforestry and providing better employment opportunities and increased food security through access to water and sustainable forest systems, such as environmental services, reforestation initiatives, etc. It will also enable those who depend on forests to make a living to better adapt to the effects of climate change by helping them to better manage their natural resource in order to provide themselves with better living conditions and at the same time preserve biodiversity. The financial agreement will be signed today by the Director of Latin America and the Caribbean in the Development and Cooperation Directorate General of the Commission. Today in our video library, I have a real treat for you. This full feature-length documentary, Collapse, interviews Michael Rupert. So, want to know why we are where we are today? The reason for everything? The answer to the question, what is the equation that drives everything? Why is the political landscape the way it is? Why are the kleptocrats in the European Union so hell-bent on completing their project irrespective of human cost? Is it really possible to summarise the reason and driving behind all this complexity? Well, in this video, Michael Rupert believes it is. He believes it can be summarised in less than a paragraph, not even a sentence. In fact, it is so simple a phrase, it contains only 3 letters. O-I-L. Oil. I'm Rick Timmis, reporting for the Unit Nightly News. I'll see you soon.